Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something a bit risky, actually.
Oh, what's that?
We are tackling the immediate follow-up to a certified culture-defining blockbuster.
Okay.
We're talking about Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. You know, if you had that impossible task of following up The Wrath of Khan, a film loved by pretty much everyone, fans, critics, the pressure must have been just astronomical on the whole team.
Astronomical is one word for it, maybe existential. The review we looked at, it points out that expectation after Khan was just so high that, quote, nothing less than a perfect film will satisfy the fanboys. So you've got this dual challenge, right?
Right.
You got to honor what Khan did, creatively, emotionally, but you also have to carve out a real reason for this third film to even exist.
Okay, so our mission today.
Our mission is to distill the core things that, according to our source, made Search for Spock work. We're focusing on the surprising creative choices.
Like the director.
Exactly. The director and the narrative structure itself. Why did this reviewer call it a worthy entry and a good standalone film?
That standalone part is interesting for such a direct sequel. How do you even do that?
Well, it starts, I think, with that first big surprise, who they put in the director's chair.
Which was Leonard Nimoy himself, Mr. Spock.
None other. Now, on the surface, putting a beloved actor and icon in charge, it could look like fan service, a risk even.
Yeah, the source calls it an unexpected move.
But then you dig a little deeper into Nimoy's background and it just clicks. It makes sense.
Right, because we mostly think of him with the pointy ears, but he had another career going.
Exactly. The source clarifies he already had this whole other track record. Directing for stage, directing for screen. He wasn't new to it.
He knew performance.
He understood performance, scene rhythm, and crucially, he understood these characters better than almost anyone.
And, kind of ironically, the very reason for the sequel, Spock being dead, actually helped him as a director.
That's what the source suggests, yeah. Because Spock was, gone. For most of the film, Nimoy wasn't doing that actor-director juggling act. He didn't have to deliver a huge performance and manage everything behind the camera at the same time. He could just focus. Focus on guiding the story, guiding the other actors.
Apply that deep character knowledge to the craft.
Exactly. It let him step back.
Okay, so let's unpack the setup. Because, wow, this film does not waste time. It throws the crew right back into it.
No kidding. It picks up like the minute the second film ends. There's no gap.
Spock is dead. Laid to rest on Genesis.
That brand new, very unstable Genesis planet. And the Enterprise. Battered. Limping back to Spacedock for major repairs after that fight with Khan.
But even Spacedock isn't safe harbor for long, is it?
Not really. The emotional hits just keep coming. Even while they're still reeling, it's like a 1-2 punch.
A double whammy, you called it.
What's first? First, the Enterprise. Their ship, their home. They're told it's being decommissioned. Just like that. Pulled apart. Done.
Oof. After losing Spock. That's rough.
It's the final insult, almost. And then number 2. Dr. McCoy starts acting really strange. Erratic.
Not just grief.
No, more than grief. Agitated, talking to himself. It's pretty clear something's wrong. And that becomes the thread, The start of the search. He's literally carrying baggage from the last film.
And this is where it gets really Trekky, but in a cool way.
Yeah.
It connects the two films with this almost spiritual idea.
Right. Kirk meets Sarek, Spock's father, back at Starfleet HQ.
Yeah, they figure it out.
They realize Spock, right before he died, he transferred his spirit, his katra, the Vulcan soul.
Into McCoy.
Into McCoy. Bonkers, but brilliant.
Did the reviewer think this was, too much? Too mystical for sci-fi?
Apparently not. The source suggests it gave the film the urgency it needed. It upped the emotional stakes beyond just, mourning a body.
So Sarek explains.
Sarek tells Kirk, look, if Spock is going to find peace, if he's going to be healed, we need both. We need his spirit, which is currently making McCoy miserable, and his body, which is lying on that decaying Genesis planet. They both have to go back to Vulcan for this sacred ritual.
And that becomes the mission. Not Starfleet orders, not exploration.
No. It's about friendship, love, cultural necessity. It forces Kirk, who's just lost his ship and his best friend, to basically throw the rulebook out the window.
Risk everything for the friends he has left.
Violate Starfleet orders, steal the Enterprise. It twists the whole thing from maybe a standard sequel into this desperate personal rescue mission. It's quite clever, really.
And that structural choice, starting right after Khan, grounding it in those deep emotions.
Yeah.
that got praise.
Yeah, major praise. It gives the film this built-in momentum. But you asked earlier about the standalone comment.
Right. How can it be standalone if it's so tied to the last one?
It's a fair point. The continuity is undeniable. But the review does make sure to say, you don't have to have seen Khan.
Oh, how so?
They apparently stick in a handy catch-up of the end of Khan right at the beginning, so you get the basics. But more than that, the core themes are universal, right? Life, death, friendship. You immediately get what's at stake. Kirk's trying to save his friends, one spiritually, one physically. It respects the past, but you can still jump in.
Structurally, there's another smart move the film makes, according to the source. Something about the cast.
Yeah, they trimmed the cast list down significantly.
Fewer characters overall.
Exactly. And by doing that, the main crew who are left, Kirk, Scotty, Sulu, Chekhov, Uhura, they all get more meaningful stuff to do.
The plot isn't spread too thin.
Right. Kirk's still the driver, obviously, making the big sacrifice play. But the character who really benefits from this focus, it's McCoy.
Ah, Bones. And the reviewer points out something interesting here. That McCoy was maybe underutilized before.
In the TV show.
That's the claim. Often just the comic relief or the emotional guy reacting to Spock's logic. But Search for Spock gives him, and I quote, a greater role in the proceedings and a far more sympathetic role. He's not just the sidekick doctor anymore.
He's carrying Spock's soul. He's a ticking time bomb. He's the living embodiment of Spock's unfinished business. It shoves him right into the center of the drama in a way he hadn't been before.
Makes Kirk's decisions about him even weightier.
Absolutely. And using McCoy, this beloved character, for that, it makes the stakes feel way higher than if they'd just invented some new character to carry the katra, you know?
And this focus extends to the writing itself. The script got props for being tight.
Very much so. The source notes little or no extraneous scenes or dialogue. It feels lean, purposeful, well-paced.
Which leads to that really critical observation, the one about the quips.
Ah, yes. This is fascinating. The reviewer specifically points out that the smart quips and raised Vulcan eyebrows are kept to an absolute minimum.
Whoa. That's like taking the jam out of the donut for some fans, isn't it? Those are Star Trek staples.
They absolutely are. And choosing to deliberately pull back on them, it suggests they were prioritizing the emotional honesty of the situation, the gravity of it all.
Over the easy, familiar character beat.
Exactly. It signals a certain maturity, maybe. They understood perhaps that after Spock's death, the audience didn't need constant banter. They needed focus, catharsis.
A narrative tightening.
And the reviewer hints this discipline might have been, well, temporary. Something the franchise maybe lost touch with later.
Interesting. Okay, let's swing back to Nimoy in the director's chair. Given all this emotional weight, how did he handle it?
The review says with apparent ease, which is quite the compliment.
And his success was in restraint, not being too flashy.
That seems to be the key takeaway. The reviewer notes he didn't display many stylistic touches. He wasn't trying to, one-up the last director or throw in lots of crazy camera moves.
Which feels counterintuitive today, right? We often celebrate directors with a really strong, visible style. Why was being reserved an advantage here?
Well, Nimoy seemed to understand the assignment, as they say. He knew the spectacle was already there, the effects, Genesis falling apart, the ship battles.
That would be enough for the cinema audience.
Right. He didn't need angular or swooping camera shots to manufacture drama. He let the action unfold. And maybe more importantly, he kept the focus on the actors.
On their faces, their reactions.
Letting their performances, the grief, the determination, the sheer risk they're taking, carry the emotional story. It's a kind of direction that serves the narrative, serves the emotion instead of trying to overwhelm it. Perfect for a story about loss and sacrifice.
Makes sense. But of course, you can't just have heroes being noble. You need conflict. You need a good bad guy.
Essential for Star Trek, absolutely. And this film delivers with Christopher Lloyd as Commander Kruge.
The Klingon commander. Ruthless.
Totally ruthless. He's after the Genesis tech for his own nefarious ends. And Lloyd, even relatively early in his film career here, just brings this incredible intensity. He makes Kruge instantly memorable.
But what really made Kruge stand out, according to the review, it wasn't just Lloyd's performance, was it? It was something specific about the writing, about villain tropes.
Yes. This is a great point. The highest praise comes from what Kruge doesn't do. He's described as ruthless, hard, yes, but crucially, not prone to exposition.
Ah, the villain monologue.
Exactly. The reviewer nails it. Usually in sci-fi like this, you get the alien who cannot wait to tell Kirk how to overcome him. They just spill the beans, explain their whole plan.
Basically handing the hero the keys to victory while trying to look menacing.
Right. It slows everything down. Kirk doesn't do that. He's called a refreshing change. He acts. He creates consequences. His menace comes from his actions, his silence, not from long speeches.
Keeps the plot moving, keeps the threat level high.
Maintains that urgency Nimoy set up. He's defined by what he does.
Okay, so let's pull it all together. What's the final assessment from the source? Why did Search for Spock succeed despite the pressure?
Well, it boils down to managing those expectations really well. They did it by focusing on an emotionally honest, disciplined script.
Solid pacing, no fluff.
Right. Deep character work, especially giving McCoy that much-deserved spotlight.
And a genuinely effective villain who wasn't chatty.
Kruge, yeah. It's the combination of those things. Nimoy's restraint, the tight writing, the focus on the emotional cost that led the reviewer to call it a worthy entry into the Star Trek universe and a good standalone film to boot.
It navigated that tricky sequel space by being focused, character first, and, disciplined.
It really did. It met the challenge.
Fantastic. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to that one little detail the reviewer dropped. The one that hinted the franchise might be at a kind of crossroads.
The quips and eyebrows line.
Exactly. That smart quips and raised Vulcan eyebrows are kept to an absolute minimum.
Yeah, that phrase really hangs there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If the review uses the lack of those things, those beloved, maybe slightly easy character beats, as a marker of the script's quality and tightness.
What does that suggest? This is the question for you, the listener, to think about. If keeping those familiar elements minimal was a sign of a strong, focused script back then, what does it imply about where the writing went next?
The reviewer does say this might be the last time that could be said.
Right. So was the discipline we see in Star Trek Third just a temporary thing, a necessary pause maybe,
right,
driven by the series ending of Khan?
Before the franchise felt it needed to lean back into those more comfortable, more charismatic, but maybe less dramatically tight character moments we associate with the crew later on.
That's the provocative thought to beam out with. Was this focus style an exception, born of necessity, before the return of the quips and eyebrows?
Yeah.
Something to chew on as you maybe rewatch the later films?